Okay, and then I think we're all set. So today what we're going to do is talk about taxes, and what we're going to do is start with sales taxes. Um, I want to, before we get into sales tax though, I want to get into just a little bit of an overview of all the different types of taxes that there are, and they're sort of categorized a little bit. So we can kind of break taxes down into three groups based on how you interact with them. So there's taxes on what you earn, and there's more than one way that you can pay them. The most common way I think that we think of is income taxes, right? But there are also payroll taxes and capital gains taxes. Okay, those are different types of taxes. There's taxes on what you buy. Again, the most common one there is going to be sales tax. But then there's other things like value-added tax and excise taxes that can be paid sometimes. And then there's taxes on what you own. And again, I think the most common one that we can think of or run into are property taxes. And we talked about those a little bit when we were talking about buying a house. And then there's, there's other taxes, estate taxes, inheritance taxes, and so on. Right now, in this section and the next section, we're only going to discuss sales tax and income tax. Okay, but there's lots of them out there, and sometimes you pay taxes without realizing it if it's wrapped into something else. Okay, so let's go over sales tax a little bit. So first, I want to talk about how sales tax is collected, and we don't have a federal sales tax in this country, right? The federal government doesn't impose a sales tax. Most of the states do, though. There are a few that don't. I've listed here the ones that don't collect sales tax: Alaska, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon. They don't collect sales tax. They get their money different ways. Sometimes, though, a local government can also collect a sales tax, right? So you can have, like, the city of Chicago can impose a sales tax, and you can have a county, right? Maybe Lake County imposes a sales tax, okay? And when you're the buyer, you don't really have to pay attention to what is the percent from each of the different governing bodies. It's the seller that has to know, okay, if I'm in this place, what are all the sales taxes? And then they just add them all up and stack them on. Okay. The other thing is that sales tax can also vary depending on what you're buying. A good example of that is food. Food is usually taxed at a lower rate and sometimes not at all. Okay. Same thing with services, right? So you might pay taxes if you buy a bottle of shampoo, but maybe you don't pay sales tax if you get a haircut. Okay. So yeah, so sales tax can differ by a lot. Okay, so we're just going to be aware of that, but like we can't really study, what all the different taxes are in different areas. That's going to be too much. What we're just going to look at is how sales tax works. Okay, so we'll pick different percentages here and there, and you do pay different percentages based on where you go because of all of these factors, right? Different things are taxed different amounts, right? If you go across the street, maybe you're in a new city or county that has a slightly different tax rate. Okay, so that's why sales tax can vary by a lot. All right, let's look at computing sales tax. Sales tax, from a mathematics standpoint, is very simple. It's just a percentage of the price that you pay for a product, right? A good or a service. So if we have a 7% sales tax rate, if the price is $200 and the tax is 7%, then we're just paying 7% of the $200. And I know from our first unit on percents, that a percent of just means multiply. So we multiply our percentage rate times the price that we pay, and that gets the amount of tax. Okay. So if I want to buy something for $200, I pay that $200 plus the $14 that we computed in sales tax. So we pay a total of $214. Okay. So let's go through a quick example here. Find the cost of a sweater that sells for $75, assuming a 7% sales tax rate. So the tax is 7% of $75. And if I just convert these words into a math equation, is means equals, write my percent as a decimal, and a percent of means multiply. Okay, so we're just going to take 7% or 0.07 times 75, and we get $5.25. Okay, so the cost is $75 plus $5.25, which will give us $80.25. Okay, so not too complicated. Okay, let's throw something else into the mix. What if I want to buy something but it's also on sale? Right, so here, suppose a pair of shoes normally sells for $120 but is on sale for 7% off, and there's 7% sales tax. Find the amount you must pay for the shoes. Now, a 7% off, that's a discount of 7%. 7% sales tax means I increase the price by 7%. And you might ask yourself, do those wipe each other out? And what we'll do is let's actually compute it and see, do they balance out? Does one just cancel the other? So the discount is 7% of $120. So that's 0.07 times 120. And that's $8.40. Okay. So then the sale price is the $120 minus the discount, the $8.40. Okay, so we get $111.60. Okay, now the important thing to note about sales tax is that it's not a tax on the sticker price of a good. The only thing that matters is how much you actually pay for a good or service, right? So even though the shoes are listed as costing $120, because there's a discount, we only paid that tax on the amount that we're actually paying for the shoes. So the $111.60. Okay. Okay, so we're not taking 7% of $120, we're taking 7% of $111.60 for the tax part. So the tax is 0.07 times $111.60. Okay, and when I multiply that on my calculator, I get 7.812. Because we're dealing with money, we'll just round to the nearest cent, right? The nearest penny would be $7.81. So then I'm going to add that to my sale price. Okay, so the final cost is going to be the sale price, $111.60, plus the tax. Okay, so I get $119.41. Okay, so we reduced the cost by 7% and then increased it by 7%, and we did not get back to where we started because we're not taking 7% of the same thing each time. So even though sales tax is kind of simple, right, we're just taking a percentage of things, we have to be careful because we have to be very careful about what we're taking a percentage of. Okay, and that's where things can get tricky. Okay, so let's look at one more example. Suppose you would like to buy a phone for $500 and it's on sale for 20% off and has 8% sales tax. Does it matter if we apply the discount before or after the tax? Okay. What if I take the 20% off first and then apply the tax? Or if I take the tax first and then apply the discount? So what I want to do is I want to look at those two and discuss them. So first we'll look at what happens if I do the discount first. And then we'll look at what happens if we do the tax first. Okay. So if I do the discounting first, okay, the discount amount, it's on sale for 20% off. So I'm going to take 20% of $500. And I get $100. Okay. So then the discounted price is going to be $500 minus my discount. Right, so we get a discounted price of $400. Now we apply our tax. So the tax is 8% of 400. So turning that into an equation means equals. 8% I write as a decimal, percent of is multiply. Okay, and I get $32 even. So I add that onto the price. So the final cost is $400 plus $32. Okay, now let's do this same problem over again, but let's add tax on first and then take the discount. Okay, so if I take the tax first, we're going to take 8% of the $500 cost, and I get $40. Okay, so then the new price is $540. Okay, now here's where we sort of have a choice. If I take the discount on the 500, okay, like we did a minute ago, and just subtract that, obviously I'm going to have a different answer because I have a different amount of tax here. But if I take the discount on this new price, then I think that we'll end up back in the same spot. So if we discount the $540, then we're going to get 20% of 540, which is $108. Okay, so if I subtract that, then I get a final cost of $540 minus my discount, and I get $432. Okay, so this looks the same. Okay, but it's not correct. Okay, do you subtract 40 from the 500? So this $40 up here is tax. Tax you add on to the price because you have to pay for the item and you have to pay tax. So they combine together. Okay, so even though we end up with the same $432, this is not correct because we've paid a different amount in tax. Okay, and that is important. Maybe not as much to you because if you're going to pay $432, it doesn't really matter where that money goes. But to the person selling it, it does, right? They first of all, they want to get more money in their pocket if they can, but more importantly, they want to make sure they follow the law, right? And they don't, in this case, it wouldn't be cheating the government; it would be cheating themselves. But you want to make sure you're paying the correct amount in tax. Okay, but tax is on how much you actually pay for the item. So you would apply the discount first, and that's how much the item cost, and that's what tax is applied to. So even though you end up with the same number by applying the tax first, this is not correct. Okay, so discounts first and then tax. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. Well, I think that that's it for